Today's topic is formation of quadratic equations, and this is the last topic of quadratic chapter. Okay, this is going to be very easy. Before this, in the previous class, we have studied about the nature of root. We did study of nature of root. During that time, I told you that the root of quadratic equation is represented by alpha and beta. Can be represented by alpha and beta. Also, we calculated the two results. One is the sum of the two roots, another is product of the two roots. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Sum of the two roots, that is alpha plus beta, was equal to how much? Minus b over a, and then the product of the two roots is equal to c over a, where we know very well what is a, b and c. A is the coefficient of x square, b the coefficient of x, and c the constant. So we are aware of that. Now we are going to use this two beautiful result to write down the quadratic equation. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So using this two result, how do you write the quadratic equation? You see now. X square minus sum of roots into x plus product of roots is equal to 0. So these two results will give you the quadratic equation. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Only we have to know is where to write what. So sum of the two roots will come as the coefficient of x, and the product of the two roots will come as the constant. Is it very clear?
Yes, sir.
So we just have to calculate the value of sum of the two roots and then the product of the two roots, and we will be able to frame the quadratic equation. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now here I am making it very clear that the coefficient of x is sum of roots, and the constant is product of roots. Now here what happens is, depends on what is the root of the quadratic equation. If the root of quadratic equation is alpha and beta, listen me very carefully. If the root of quadratic equation is alpha and beta, then the sum of root will be alpha plus beta, and product will be alpha into beta. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
But sometime the quadratic equation, some certain quadratic equation will have different root. Of course, it will be in terms of alpha and beta, but in place of alpha and beta, the root of an equation can be alpha square and beta square. In that case also, the system will be same. The process will not change. We will always remember that x is the coefficient of x is sum of the root, and the constant will be product of the root. Just be mindful of that. Coefficient of x will be sum of the root, and the constant will be product of the root. Now, if I said if the roots are alpha and beta, then its sum will be alpha plus beta, and product will be alpha into beta. But if the roots are different, example, if the root is alpha square and beta square, for any quadratic equation, if the root is alpha square and beta square, then we will have the sum of alpha square and beta square. That means then we will write the sum of the two roots as alpha square plus beta square. We are finding the sum of the root. Whatever is the root, we are trying to only find the sum of roots. So if the roots are alpha beta, then we are finding the sum of alpha beta, and we see alpha plus beta. And if the roots are alpha square and beta square, then also we will have the same concept. We will just have the sum of the two things, sum of the two roots. Since the roots are alpha square and beta square, so when you find the sum of these two, it should be alpha square plus beta square. And similarly, the product will be alpha square into beta square. Again I am repeating, if the roots are alpha beta, then sum will be alpha plus beta, and product will be alpha into beta. But if the roots are alpha square and beta square, then the sum of the root will be alpha square plus beta square, and the product will be alpha square and beta square. I mean to say whatever is the root, that same root has to be added and it has to be multiplied. Added to get the sum, multiplied to get the product. If the root of any quadratic equation is suppose alpha cube and beta cube. If the root of a quadratic equation is suppose alpha cube and beta cube, then how will you write the sum of the root? And how will you get the product? Very good. So whatever is the root, that will be added or that will be multiplied. That's all. Is it very clear? Yes, sir. So this is the process. So this is the concept we have to keep in mind. We will be always asked to write the quadratic equation using the roots. Framing the quadratic equation with the use of roots. So this will be the structure of your quadratic equation. Now, sum of root and the product of root. These two things are to be calculated. Isn't it? Its calculation is very easy. We have already seen in the previous class some exercise we have done for calculating alpha square plus beta square, which algebraic identity we use to find the value of alpha square plus beta square. Similarly, we have also seen some examples of calculating the result of alpha cube plus beta cube. Means we have to connect this with algebraic identity. We have to connect this with the algebraic formula. Which algebraic formula will give you the value of alpha square plus beta square? So we know now that if we go to perfect square formula, then that can give you, in that expansion we get the term as alpha square plus beta square. Is it very clear? Yes, sir. With this, we'll try to start the first question. Question number 15. Question number 15. The question says, it's very important for us to read the question very, very properly. Right? You need to know how to break the question. In mathematics, some part of the question will give you the information. That information will help you to solve the question. So one part of the question will be your information and another part of the question will be your question. Is this okay? So it's very important for you to know what is the question, first of all. And for that question, what is the information required? That information will be there. You need to identify the information. Is it all right? Yes, sir. So question number 15 is, if alpha and beta are the roots of the given equation x square plus x minus 7 is equal to 0. This is the information part. This is information. You are given a quadratic equation and whose roots are said to be alpha and beta. It means for that given equation, we can find the value of sum of the roots and product of the root. Is it okay? Yes, so first we will use the information part and we will get the things that we need. For writing the quadratic equation, you will always require sum of the root and product of the root. Your equation is given and for that equation the roots are said to be alpha and beta. So we have to get the sum of alpha, beta and then product of alpha, beta. Is this okay? Yes, this is your information part. And then you have to frame the equation whose roots are alpha square and beta square. So the first part of first sentence of this question is your information and the another sentence is your question. So the question says, write down the quadratic equation whose roots are alpha square and beta square. Is it okay? So I will show you first of all the equation that we are asked to calculate. I'll show you the equation that we are asked to calculate. Okay? The equation we are asked to calculate, its root is alpha square and beta square. So we'll use this format. And we'll try to write the equation that is to be calculated. When you write the quadratic equation, you have to use the same format. Isn't it? Yes, so your equation will be x square minus sum of the root. And because the root of that equation which you are going to calculate is alpha square and beta square. How will you write the sum of that? Alpha square plus beta square. Very good. Alpha square plus beta square. This becomes your sum of the two roots. And then into x plus. Now you have to write the product of the two roots. The roots are alpha square and beta square. So how will you write the product? Very good. Alpha square into beta square. Isn't it? Very nice. So it is alpha square and beta square. And this is equal to 0. So your answer will be somehow like this. The equation that you are going to create will be like this. Isn't it? Yes. Now here we will do some modification. This alpha square and beta square, these two quantities are multiplied, they have same power. Can we have a common problem? Yes. Very good. So I will delete this part and I will use a bracket because now this is whole to the power 2. We read this as whole to the power 2. Inside the bracket what we have? Alpha into beta. Is it okay? Yes, sir. Alpha into beta is not a problem because you are just writing the product of alpha beta now. Though the roots were alpha square and beta square. But by using the concept, you have changed that into alpha beta whole square. So inside the bracket now what you have? Only alpha beta. I'm telling you, if you have roots as alpha beta, just alpha beta, it is very easy. Because you can easily get the sum of alpha beta and the product of alpha beta. Because the equation is there. Equation is given. For the given equation, we can easily write the sum of the root as alpha plus beta and then the product as alpha into beta. Is it okay? Yes, so the value of this part will become very easy now. Now you have to struggle for the value of alpha square plus beta square. Because the equation that you are given, its roots are alpha and beta. Alpha and beta. So you can have the sum of the two root and that sum will come as alpha plus beta. It will not come as alpha square plus beta square. Because the root of the given equation is how much? Alpha and beta. So for that given equation, when you find the sum and the product of the root, it will come to you in the form of alpha plus beta and alpha into beta.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay or not?
Yes, sir.
So we do not have the value of this part. That means for this part we will use some trigonometric for this part we will use some algebraic identity. So which formula do you see this alpha square and beta square term? We have done this in the previous class and I can't see any of you. Yes? I can't hear you all. I can't hear. In which algebraic formula? We have done it, but then the problem is you just copy it in your notebook and never turn the page. In which algebraic formula we find this type of term alpha square and beta square? Perfect square. We find this type of term in perfect square. In a plus b whole square, you write this as a square plus 2ab plus b square. We write it. Now, maybe we can write this as a square plus b square plus 2ab. We can change the order of writing. There is no problem. Now, in this expansion, we are able to see this a square plus b square. If this is alpha and beta, then this will be alpha square plus beta square.
Yes, sir.
So this is the algebraic formula in which we use this. We see this one. Hereafter, you have to remember. Now, I need to make a formula for this. For that, this will come to left side. And so this will become a square plus b square will be equal to a plus b whole square minus 2ab. Right?
Yes, sir.
The reason is why I'm doing it like this is because we have to have these terms only in terms of sum of the root as alpha beta and product of alpha beta. We want to see always the terms in terms of sum of alpha beta, not alpha square beta square, not alpha cube beta cube. Is it okay or not?
Yes, sir.
Now when you replace this, if you replace by this one, then you are able to see this as the sum of alpha plus beta only. And the product also as alpha beta.
Yes, sir.
So this is what we can do here, and we can replace this part by right hand side. By right hand side. So this will be, this is as it is, x square. This we can write as alpha plus beta whole square minus 2 alpha beta, and then bracket close x plus alpha beta whole square, and this is equal to 0. See, just now what I am doing is I am only trying to show you what will be your equation, the equation that you are going to create. How you will create that I will teach you now. Just now I am trying to only visualize you what will be the structure of your answer. The question says, write down a quadratic equation whose roots are alpha square and beta square. We know that the roots are alpha square and beta square. That means we will find the sum and the product in terms of alpha square and beta square only. And that is why I showed you that this will be your equation, where the sum of the two is in terms of alpha square, beta square, and the product is also in terms of alpha square, beta square. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, this part will be always only in terms of alpha and beta. It will never be in terms of any exponential form. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So that is why we will, whenever we have any other power of this alpha and beta other than 1, then we will do some changes using some algebraic formula, and we will try to write that in the form of sum of alpha and beta, or in the product of alpha and beta. Now all the terms you see here are converted as the sum of alpha and beta. Sum or the product of alpha and beta. This is all done. Now if I can have the value of this part and then the value of this part, I will be able to just put it and then simplify and get the quadratic equation. Is it okay?
Yes,
Now to do that, we'll use the information. The information is x square given is x square plus x minus 7 is equal to 0. This is your equation, am I right? Now for this equation, we can write the value of sum of the root and product of the root. So sum of the root, that is alpha and beta, because according to the question, not I am saying, according to the question, the root of this equation is said to be alpha and beta, and that is why we can write the sum of the root and product of the root. So sum of the root, that is alpha plus beta, will be equal to minus 1, because it will be minus 1 over 1 actually, but it is ultimately equal to minus 1 because when there is denominator 1, we do not show it. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
And then likewise we will have the product of the root. This is only negative 7. It is actually negative 7 over 1, but finally it will turn into negative 7. So from the given information, we could write the sum of the root and product of the root. One thing is, I don't know why you all are so much stressed. The question is not very difficult. I am trying to give you the detailed information. This is the first question. You are finding it difficult. Now I am going to first of all recap it. Recap. Now you have everything on the board. One side you have the information, other side you have your question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now after this I will first take you to the information part. First go to the information. Information, you have a quadratic equation and whose roots are said to be alpha and beta. Am I clear or not?
Yes, sir.
One quadratic equation is given to us, and then the roots are said to be alpha and beta. So we can easily write the sum of the two root and product of the two root. And that's why we try to write here. Sum of the root and product of the root. You got this, Tourism?
Yes, sir.
This information is given. According to the information, we wrote the sum of the root and product of the root. Now these two informations are going to be used in this equation. Since we are going to use these two information in this equation, it means we will expect all the alpha beta only in terms of alpha plus beta and alpha into beta. We don't want, because we don't have the value of alpha square and beta square.
Yes, sir.
Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
So now we are going to the question now. Question says that you have to frame a quadratic equation whose roots are alpha square and beta square. So from the given formula we try to write the equation. So when we wrote the equation, it came into this form. When it came into this form, then we realized that we don't have the value of alpha square plus beta square. I have the value of only alpha plus beta. So what I need to do here so that this can change into alpha plus beta, or maybe in the form of product of alpha and beta. So immediately I thought that if I can use the identity, one of the identity of algebra, a plus b whole square, we can turn this into alpha and beta. So we did that, and then using that we have changed that form. This is then changed to this form. Is this understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Now everything is done. Now I just have to punch the value from there. So x square minus alpha plus beta is equal to negative 1. So square of that minus 2 alpha into beta negative 7. So minus 7. And then x, and then now alpha beta is again minus 7. Whole square is equal to 0. X square minus, this is positive 1. This also will become positive 14 bracket close. X, this will become also positive 49 is equal to 0. And finally x square 1 plus 14 15, and then minus 15 x plus 49 is equal to 0. This is your quadratic equation. Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is question number 16. Now, this time I have given both the things in front of you. It will make you very, very comfortable. This is given information, and then the root of this equation is said to be alpha beta only. Is alpha beta. So, from there, from that given information, can we have the sum of the root and product of the root? Please help me. Sum of the root, alpha plus beta, because the root of this equation is alpha and beta. So it is equal to how much? You remember the sign? For you, sign is not important. As if you are a farmer. There is no value of sign for you. Negative? Negative 3 over 2. As if I am teaching you for the first time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, can you tell me? Stand up. Yes, you. Yeah. Product of the root. Look at product of the root. Equation is here on the board, not in the notebook. 2 divided by 2 divided by 3. For some of you, this is only a picnic place. School is a picnic place. You come here to enjoy. You have no purpose of coming to school. I have given you so nicely everything. And just now, also before this question, also we have discussed about the product of the root. No? Because your mind is not here in the school. His mind is not in your class. Right? I'm sorry to say this. You are quite mature, but you don't behave as you are expected to do. The product of the two root can be written as formula
C over A.
C over A. So 2 over 2. We simplify, this comes as 1. Now it's so good. I got the sum of the two root and also the product of the two root, and I'm going to use that in the question, the equation that we are asked to calculate. Okay? And also, I did something. The first step is already done. I have tried to write the quadratic equation according to the given formula. The coefficient of x is supposed to be the sum of two roots, so I wrote it as sum of the two roots. And then the constant is supposed to be the product of the two roots, so I wrote this as also the product of the two roots. Understood?
Yes, sir.
But I still see some difficulty. No? This I need to have this in the proper form. We need to do some kind of calculation, no? And then this also need to have some calculation, because I don't have this alpha is separated from beta. It has to be in the form of product, no? So just now it is not in the proper format. We have to do some correction. So we are going to do x square, and then can I write here alpha plus beta?
Yes, sir.
Alpha plus beta, and then this and this will be added together to become plus 2, and then x. Now this part becomes very good, because you know the answer of this alpha plus beta, and this is just a number. Let it be here. We will simplify later on.
Yes, sir.
Now this part will be simplified only when I multiply this two.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to multiply this. So alpha into beta, alpha into 1, alpha 1 into beta, beta 1 into 1. 1. Wow. This gave so good result. I'm happy. This part came as a product of the two roots. Maza aa gaya. This part came as sum of the two roots. Double maza. What do you say? 1 is a number is never a problem. That also bichara 1 chupcha. Is it good or not?
Yes, sir.
So now we will put the values in each part and then we will simplify and get the answer. X square minus alpha plus beta is equal negative 3 over 2 plus 2, no?
Yes, sir.
Can I write 2 first? Because my 2 is positive, very good number.
Yes, sir.
No, on the very first range, if I have not these two, no, I don't like it. At this first range, should be the set of good students.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't apply to your class because in this class we don't have any number.
Yes, sir.
This is negative 3 over 2. Yes. Plus alpha beta C plus negative 3 over 2 plus 1 is equal to 0. Now we will simplify this part. X square minus, I don't need to apply any rule. No, simply I can use my common sense because I have 2 minus 1.5. I see this 3 over 2 as 1.5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
2 minus 1.5 means half only. No?
Yes, sir.
So check out. X. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Plus. Now here 1 plus 1, 2. And again 2 minus 1.5. Again check out. Is equal to 0. Now this is my answer. This is my answer.
Yes, sir.
But some of you do not like this answer because the numbers are all in the form of head and tail. No? Fractional number. So you don't like it, then you can again modify. So in that case, we will consider this also to be the fractional number and then we'll simplify. The LCM of this whole thing will be 2. So this is 2x minus 2x square minus x plus 1 is equal to Lekor. Now 2 will be multiplied with this. Finally your equation is 2x square minus x plus 1 is equal to 0. This is finally your equation. Now this question, how did you find it?
Yes, sir.
Something getting into your head?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Question number 17. Question number 17. This is the information part. This is information. This is the equation and whose root is said to be alpha and beta. So blindly we know now how to write the sum of this two root and the product of the two root. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm going to write sum of the two root alpha plus beta. Excuse me. May I request you to tell me this answer once again? No, don't need of any heart attack. Come on. You will never find any person like me. So good. Sum of the root. Sum of the root. Without getting nervous. Come on, come on, come on. No. Okay. Don't be nervous. Look at my smiling face. My smiling face also is very discouraging. I know I am very funny, what to do. Next month I will pray to God to be beautiful like you only. Yes, you. Negative 2 divided by 1. Very good answer. Thank you so much. Negative 2 divided by 1. Is it negative 2 then? Yes. Negative 2 divided by 1. Can I have permission to write negative 2 only?
Yes.
Thank you for giving me permission. I know you are my boss. Alpha into beta, the product. So you are free. Got it, no?
Yes, sir.
For the given information, now we have the sum of the root and product of the root. Okay? Can I have your eyes on the board?
Yes, sir.
Now we are asked to write a quadratic equation whose roots are alpha over beta and beta over alpha. The roots are like this only. What to do? Roots are, the one root is alpha over beta, another root is beta over alpha. So we will use the two root in the same way as it is given, no? And we will put it in the formula. So according to the formula, sum of the roots. So this plus this. This is one root, this is another root. So we are adding these two and then getting the sum of the root. Understood?
Yes, sir.
And product of the two roots, like this only. Is it okay?
Yes,
So first of all, I just wrote according to the format. After this, we have to do some corrections, some modification in this part and some modification in this part, so that we can get the term only in terms of alpha plus beta and alpha into beta. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to do it. See how interesting it is. Alpha, alpha, beta, beta. Kya baat hai? No?
Yes, sir.
Very interesting. So this whole thing became how much? 1. No jhamela. No alpha, no beta. Only 1. Now we will simplify this part. This is one fraction number, this is another fraction number. You know how to simplify the fraction number, no? So this is x square minus LCM of this will be alpha beta. Wow, denominator so good. It came in the form of product.
Yes, sir.
Numerator alpha square plus beta square x, and this is plus 1 is equal to 0. We are very happy from the two sides. This became 1, no jamela. This became product form. We have very good. Heartbreaking. It came in the form of a square now. Alpha square plus beta square. But now after this many questions, you have become comfortable. You know from where it comes.
Yes, sir.
So it comes from? Very good. Perfect square. So we will use the formula and then we will simplify. So this part numerator I will write as alpha plus beta whole square minus 2 alpha beta, and denominator as it is alpha beta x, and then plus 1 is equal to 0. Now all your term has come in the form of sum of alpha beta and product of alpha beta, no?
Yes, sir.
So we'll just copy and paste now. X square minus alpha plus beta, negative 2. So negative 2 is square minus 2 alpha beta 3 into 3 divided by alpha beta 3, and then x plus 1 is equal to 0. Now this will be x square minus, this will become positive, right? So this will be 4, and this will be negative 6. 4 negative 6 negative 2. So this will become negative 2 over 3, no? Now when I open the bracket, again minus is there, so it will become positive 2 over 3 x plus 1 is equal to 0. This is your quadratic equation. And again you are not happy because one number is fractional. Then simplify it and consider the other also to be a fraction number, and we will simplify the last step. 3x square plus 2x plus 3 divided by 3 is equal to nego, and finally this 3 will go and multiply by 0, so this will become 3x square plus 2x plus 3 is equal to nego. This is your final question. Any doubt? No. Thank you. And question number 18 is your homework. Question number 18 is your homework.